And now we're talking about 기 시작하다. 기 시작하다. So this is a pretty useful grammar form, and I think it's pretty easy to use. Once you just learn the form, I feel like it's a very easy grammar form to stick into your sentences and practice using for yourself. So basically it's used with verbs, with action verbs. And to the action verb, you stick 기 and then 시작하다. So 시작하다 is a verb in itself. It means to start doing something. So 시작하다 means to start doing. It is a 하다 verb, and it's used to talk about starting actions, talking about things you start doing. So we have an example sentence here, and it says, 저는 작년에 한국어를 공부하기 시작했어요. So 저는 is I, and then 작년 is last year. 작년. And notice how you pronounce it with a niang on the bottom. It's not said 작년. It kind of all glides together and becomes 작년. It changes to a niang sound when you're speaking. But it's still written like this, but it's just pronounced 작년. And then we have 한국어를, Korean. So last year, Korean, 공부하다 is the verb to study. So 공부해요 would just be I study Korean. But now we've attached our 기 시작했어요. So 기 시작하다 is our form that we're learning to start doing something. In this case, the verb we're talking about is 공부하다, to learn. So learning, starting. 공부하기 시작해요 is to start learning Korean. But this is also in the past tense. So I started learning Korean last year. Because of this time as last year, I started learning Korean last year. Okay, maybe that applies to you. If you started learning Korean last year, you could use this sentence whenever you like. Or you can replace this time with any time that you like to say you started learning Korean at that time. Like 어제, you started learning yesterday. 지난주, you started learning last week. Whatever it is, you just stick in your time here. And you say 한국어를 공부하기 시작했어요. I started learning Korean at that time. 목소리가 좋으시네. 감사합니다. Okay, so the verb 시작하다 means to start. And you can attach 시작하다 to the verb stem of an action verb to talk about starting some action. Okay, so let's look at how the quick conjugation table. So in its dictionary form, it's just 기 시작하다. 기 시작하다 is just the dictionary form. It's not usable by itself. It has to be conjugated. So some example sentences. 기 시작해요. That's present tense. I start doing. I start doing something. This one is past tense. 기 시작했어요. It's I started something, 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 whatever it is that you're starting. And then we also have future tense. 기 시작할 거예요 is I will start. So you probably recognize these conjugations from just 하다, right? You know how to conjugate 하다 into the present tense, into the past tense, and into the future tense. So it's just the same conjugation with this grammar form, because 시작하다 is just a verb. It's just a regular 하다 verb, and you can conjugate it however you want. Okay. Are you learning Korean every single day? Well, I hope you're still enjoying it. It is difficult, I know. Learning a language is difficult. Okay, so let's have a go at attaching 기 시작하다 to some verbs to use it. So it's pretty simple. Basically, you just take off 다 and you stick on 기 시작하다. Chris told me to say hello. Oh, hi, Chris. So we have a verb, 가르치다, which is the verb meaning to teach. 가르치다. So you take a verb, and it has to be an action verb, right? Descriptive verbs can't be used with this form because it doesn't make sense. You wouldn't say, I start pretty or I start tall, like it doesn't make sense. It's got to be an action verb, something like teach or eat or drink, something like that. But we have this verb to teach. First thing you always do is you take off ta. So ta goes away. And now we attach 기, 시작하다. So this is, instead of going to teach, it means some subject, for example, I start teaching. So just by doing that simple little change, we have this full sentence, I start teaching. And the I is implied. As you know, in Korean, you don't need a subject. This I can be dropped, and it's still a natural sentence in Korean. But I'm just going to imply that it's I for the subject. Is this intermediate level Korean? Yeah, it's nearing intermediate. I'd say it's sort of upper beginner. A lot of intermediate people probably know this grammar form, but maybe you don't. Maybe it's new. Okay, so let's have a look at some more. So what about this verb here? 기다리다. Does anyone know what this verb means in Korean? 기다리다. It's an action verb. It's fairly commonly used. Gumi, Helen, yes, perfect. It means to wait. 기다리다 is to wait. So how would I conjugate? How would I say to start waiting? How would I add 시작하다 to 기다리다? 감사합니다. 기다리다 becomes, it's a fairly easy process. It's not a trick question or anything. To turn this verb to stick on 시작하다, you just remove 다, and it becomes 시작하다. 기다리기, that's the first part. You've got the first part, right? Correct? It just needs the final verb on the end. 기다리기 시작하다. Yeah. 기다리기 시작하다. Thank you, Marie. Is to start waiting. To start waiting. User 6405 here. Yeah, perfect. And then we have some others here, like 먹다 is 먹기 시작하다, and 받다 is 받기 시작하다. 먹다 is to eat, 받다 is to receive. And notice it doesn't matter if the verb stem ends on a vowel or a consonant. You always stick on 기 시작하다. Sometimes different grammar forms get a little bit more tricky. You've got to change it slightly depending on if the verb stem ends on a vowel or if it ends on a consonant. But in this case, it's very simple. You just slap it on the end. Just take off ta and slap it on the end. It doesn't matter. It's always 기 시작하다. And then the next part is to conjugate this hada part into however you intend for it to mean. So let's look at some example sentences. Some of these are a bit long, but let's just do a couple of them just to try it out. So what about this first one? 저는 버스를 기다리기 시작해요. 어느 나라의 사람이에요? 저는 원래 뉴질랜드 사람이에요. I am originally a New Zealander. And thank you for the roses. Helen, yes, I start waiting for a bus, or I start waiting for the bus, or however you want to do it. I start waiting for the bus. 버스 is bus in Korean. It's just the same English word, just pronounced in the Korean Hangul. And we had 기다리다 up here. It means to wait. 기다리기 시작하다. And it's just been conjugated into the present tense, becoming 해요. Remember that when you conjugate 하다 verbs in the present tense, they become 해요. So 저는 버스를 기다리기 시작해요. I start waiting for the bus. Okay, what about this next one? 저는 수업을 가르치기 시작해요. First, the question is, what is 수업? Does anyone recognize this word here? 수업. Should I learn this as a beginner? Sure, if you like, if it's comfortable for you. If it's not comfortable for you, then you don't have to. Class or lesson, Rihan, yes. 수업 is class or lesson, however you want to translate it. 수업. And then we have 가르치기 시작해요, another verb that we had before. And you guys recognized it as well. This one was to teach. So 저는 means I. 수업을, the class. 가르치기 시작해요. I start teaching the class. I start teaching the class, yeah. And someone asked what my native language is. My native language is English. Okay, so let's do one of these longer ones, maybe. Let's do, how about this second to last one? 우리는 올해부터 강아지를 키우기 시작할 거예요. Okay, this one's a tricky one, right? We've got a lot of stuff going on here, but let's break it down. So 우리는 is we. What about 올해? 올해? Does anyone recognize this word? It's a good word to know, actually, if you don't recognize it. 올해. User 64. There, perfect. This year. 올해 is this year. And 부터. 부터 is another grammar form. It means, let me get a little highlighter. 부터 means from. So from some time. So when you're talking about times, you can use 부터 to talk about from one time to another time. So from this year, 강아지. Anyone know what 강아지 is in Korean? 강아지. I have a 강아지. A lot of people do have 강아지s these days. Puppy, yes, verlekker. Perfect. 강아지 means puppy. The technical word for dog in Korean is 개, but a lot of people have started using 강아지 instead of saying 개, just because 개 kind of has a bad connotation. It's used in a lot of swear words in Korean, actually. And so for dogs that, are sort of cherished pets, like members of the family, a lot of people started just calling them 강아지, even if they're older dogs, because it just sounds a little bit nicer than 개. But it's the same thing. Am I selling this book? Yes, I am. It is Conversational Korean Grammar, and you can buy it if you are interested. So 강아지 means the puppy or dog. What about this verb here? 키우다. 키우다. Does anyone recognize this verb? It's to do with animals, so it's a bit of a clue. It's often used to raise. Yes, gumi jokpa, yeah. 키우다 means to raise. You can also use it for, children, other things that you nurture, that you grow, like pets as well. So then we have our 기 시작하다, which is showing up, right? Our to start doing. But it's been conjugated into the future tense, right? It's been conjugated into the future tense. This 할 거예요 part is the future tense. I'm just going to highlight it up so you guys can see how all these things kind of piece together. So, this book. Yes, this book is about $35 for the paperback and $15 for the PDF. Okay, so 우리는 올해부터 강아지를 키우기 시작할 거예요. How are your belts? Beautiful. Perfect, yes. From this year on, a dog I will start to raise. So you could say this, I'll start raising a dog this year, or you could even say, I'm going to get a dog this year. Oh, it's we, because it's 우리. So we will start raising a dog this year. From this year on, we're going to get a dog. Am I in Korea? No, I'm not currently in Korea. I'm currently in the US. Yep, it's a we because it's 우리. 우리 is usually translated to we. Okay, so I kind of marked this up a little bit. Let's just do one last one. Let's do one last one just to finish it off. Let's do this one here. 오늘은 이메일을 많이 받기 시작했어요. It's actually a little bit of an easier sentence to break down. But what about this first word, 오늘? Does anyone know what 오늘 means in Korean? Why did I leave Korea? Because I had to, otherwise they would kick me out because my visa would have expired. Abby, yes. Tahali about QWERTY, yes, perfect. Hearts. Oh my gosh, I've never seen that gift before. Thank you. That's so nice. I really appreciate that. A lot of you said this correctly. Oner means today. So today, and we have the topic particle here just to make it the topic of the sentence. So I'm talking about today as the topic of my sentence. As for today, email. You guys probably know what this word is just by seeing it. This is an English word. Email. It's email. Mani. Does anyone know what mani means in Korean? Email. Yes. Good job. You guys recognized it. Perfect. What about mani? A lot. Yes. Mani means a lot. It's actually my husband's favorite word in Korean because it sounds like many, so it's very easy for him to remember. It's one of the few Korean words he remembers. Yes, I always see it as many. Yeah. It's kind of, I don't remember the word for those similar words that sound the same in different languages, but it's kind of one of those. It's a easy one to remember because it sounds like many or a lot. What about 받다? 받다, does anyone recognize this verb and what it means? Receive. Helen, yes. We had it up here as well, actually. It means to receive or to get. And we have 시작했어요. So this is the past tense. Be aware of this double shit on the bottom. Means it's the past tense. So, as for today, I started receiving or getting many emails. Helen, yes. Today I received a lot of emails. I started getting a lot of emails today. If you work an office job, maybe that applies to your life. There might be certain days where you're just getting slammed with emails. You can say this. 오늘은 이메일을 많이 받기 시작했어요. I started getting lots of emails today. French. Wow, that's so cool. I love seeing all the different languages pop up in the comments. We get, Chinese and Japanese and French and Spanish, all sorts of things. So it's such a cool multilingual community that we have. Okay, so that is 시작하다. That's kind of all I meant to say about that. It's pretty easy grammar form to use once you see it and recognize it. You just stick on 시작하다 and then you conjugate 해요 into whatever tense that you like.